praise be to the glory, power, majesty, and dominion of God, the eternal God, the only God, the everlasting God. It's been a while since I've read from Isaiah, which speaks about me, and I have a lot of observations, but I'm writing a novel and I don't want to say them before I write it in the novel. I don't want anyone to steal them. So I'll say a few things regarding the nature of women, Eve, because really all women have that same personality, and as Solomon tells us in Ecclesiastes, 1 in 1,000 upright men have I found, a woman have I not found. And that's the big disillusionment in men, thinking that women are going to be different. There's always that element of dissembling, and obviously men have their fatal flaws too, hamartias, but women have that evading the truth. We look at Eve when she's confronted by God, and we have to think, what if she had just said, "I'm sorry, God, I'm really sorry, I did eat the fruit," rather than blaming it on Satan, accusing Satan, which is satanic itself, shifting the blame, the diffusion of responsibility. What if Eve had just said, "I'm so sorry, you're right, I sinned"? God, in all probability, would have said, "Okay, I forgive you," if she had just repented. But she blamed it on Satan. The serpent beguiled me, and the universe was ruined. The electromagnetic constitution of what had been perfect turned to vexation and vanity and pointless annoyance, sin, death, homosexuality, disease, cockroaches, mosquitoes, horror, this, and yet nothing compared to what awaits those whom God has ordained to condemnation aforetime. So I would like to resume with Isaiah, which speaks of my coming. I want to start with chapter 32. I think I skipped 32. And then I want to skip ahead to 34, because I think I did 33. So thanks for tuning in, the 4 of you that are watching this. And I want to thank God for everything, for every breath we take. We think that there is such a thing as chance. We perceive these things that occur in our day as being random, but there's no such thing as luck or chance. And you notice that satanic worshipers and synthetics always say good luck, which Holden points out as being so depressing, because they're trying to imply that there's luck and chance and that God hasn't ordained every breath we take aforetime before he invented time, this linear configuration, in order solely to exercise Satan. So there's no such thing as chance. Everything we experience has been predetermined by the foreknowledge of God. So let's resume with Isaiah 32. And this speaks of my coming. Of course it's ridiculous, and that's the point. Think about God's personality. Would he give you a Superman, an obvious Messiah, a perfect, kind of superhero? Or would he give you someone flawed and weird and goofy, a loser who sinned and who can understand what it's like to be sinful, and who you have a hard time, a stumbling block, a rock of offense, would he do that? Isn't that more in line with God's personality, that I would be his Christ? If you think about his humor, think about circumcision, that God had Abraham do that. That says a lot about what God's like as the person, that he would test everyone by mutilating their privy parts, this very sensitive organ. Then we understand the great Jewish comedian, what he has as a personality, because he has a personality. He's not a construct. So I often have to remind myself of that minute by minute. Okay, so Isaiah 32. Let me just check something here. Okay. Isaiah 32. King James Version, of course. A horse. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. This is talking about the new millennium. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. And that's backtracking a little bit and talking about right before Armageddon, which is what's happening now. As you see, all of the events are correlating to Revelation. We're almost entering the final war, the World War III, and you can see that Gog and Magog correlates to Russia and Ukraine, and the man of perdition will soon be trying to coerce everyone into getting the mark of the beast and these electronic computerized devices and these implants, as God knew would happen. So and this is what God's talking about. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices. Everything now you notice is a device, a phone, some kind of device. And remember, God knows this is going to happen. He spoke all this before time. He's speaking the world into being. Mir shirva ha'olem. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. And I'll say, without naming names, because that's gossip, notice that Satan's poster boy now is selling all these devices that don't work on the internet. But the liberal deviseth liberal things. This is the actual, truly liberal. And by the liberal things shall he stand. And if you think about God's personality, he is liberal. He's open to negotiation. He's rational. Several times in the Bible, he repents and changes his mind. As I said before, like with Hezekiah, turns to the wall and cries and says, God, he's weeping sore. And he says, God, please, I've been a good servant. And God says, okay, you've convinced me. I'll give you another 15 years. So God is reasonable. He wants to be reasoned with. He wants you to talk to him. But again, prayer is not really about asking for things, because God already knows what we want. He knows us better than we know ourselves. It's about listening. Okay, sorry. So yes, this is Isaiah 32, verse 8. But the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And I'm saying this now to you women. Listen to what I'm saying. The nose rings, God hates them. And all of this affectation, jewelry, makeup, which Azazel, the evil angel, invented. He invented the mirror. None of this is good in God's eyes. He despises it. He's angry with the wicked every day. So you think that you're going to get away with it. No one escapes the judgment. As Paul says in Romans, do you think you're going to escape the judgment? God has no respect to persons. And this is God's talking to women. Many days and years ye shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Winos. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you, and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vines. I think the dog wants to come, baby. Look at this baby. Here, baby. Come, baby. Sorry about interruption. Okay. Upon the land of my people, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. Because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness shall remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness and assurance forever. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting places. And this is the New Jerusalem. When it shall hail, coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place, blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass. And God is now gathering all of the chosen, all of the residue back to Israel, the land of brooks. God talks about the wonderful waters in Israel. God, the God of Israel, is real. I always say that because God invented these words. All of this now coalescing in the last days. Okay, so we're skipping ahead to Isaiah, the book of the prophet Isaiah 34. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that there is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. And this is a device, a narrative device that God often uses in the Bible because it's already happened. He speaks in the past tense. He already knows it. He already knows that Satan's going to be burned forever in the lake of fire in Gehenna. Although, if Satan were to repent now and give up this fruitless, ridiculous, irrational fight against omniscience, then God would perhaps relent. And it would not end in this horrible way that God has ordained. And again, that's the mystery. How can something that he's already determined be altered? But God is outside of time, and he can do anything he wants. He created the universe in 6 days, 500 billion trillion miles long, with more stars than there are grains of sand on all the seashores and under all the water. So you can imagine that's just one arrow in his infinite quiver of things he can do. He can do anything. It's incomprehensible. So we can't take anything for granted or think that anything is beyond God, who is thinking not only his thoughts, but thinking every thought of every creature that ever existed, every cockroach, every dachshund. God is thinking those thoughts at the same time. So what is a thought? It's perhaps his most amazing invention. So, again, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. Also, it's Christmas today, but this is not my birthday. I was born in the Nisan. So it's another heathen distortion to Satan trying to confuse everyone. And again, and the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall be quenched night, it shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion, and the stones of emptiness. They shall cut the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be an habitation of dragons, and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert there shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for himself a place of rest. And elsewhere in Isaiah, God says, he talks about me, he says, with stammering lips and in another tongue, meaning not in Hebrew, and with stammering lips, like I'm stammering and making mistakes, this is part of God's humor, showing how imperfect I am, just like you, which is why I am trying to save you from sin, because I've done it, and I know firsthand what God's wrath is like, and you do not want to endure it. You want to do everything you can to avoid it. Fear of the Lord is wisdom. There shall be the great owl make her nest, and lay and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. Not one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. Okay, this is chapter 35. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly, and rejoice even with the joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord, and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And this is happening now. If you look at these non-mainstream media channels, they show reporting of these phenomenon. There's now waters in the deserts. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. And an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransom of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. So I think we'll stop there. All praise be to the eternal power, majesty, dominion of God. Fear God. He is an avenger, and he will requite. All praise be to the eternal glory, majesty, and dominion of the Almighty Lord God of Israel, who is real.